So for my message, first, we are all experts in dealing with anxiety. We are language using animals. The language match we make never quite match reality, so we become anxious. There are lots of ways to manage anxiety. Some very good ways are work, making art, performing acts of loving kindness, creating positive culture, being an active part of a religious community, exercise, watching the sunset over Lake Michigan, practicing gratitude, forgiveness, and generosity, or any activity that brings your spirit closer to your true nature and works towards the common good. Today's chain, making exercise is a good way to deal with anxiety because it works for the common good and it gets our hands and mind involved. Some not very helpful ways of dealing with anxiety are creating drama in your life, becoming a religious or political fundamentalist, getting addicted to drugs, food, TV, alcohol, sex, shopping, overwork, nicotine, gossip, worry, hate, or caffeine, to name just a few of the many destructive ways of dealing with anxiety. The important thing to remember is that we all have anxiety and plenty of it. Further, we spend significant amounts of time and energy defending against it. Interestingly, some disciples of psychotherapy even suggest that we dose ourselves with varying amounts of anxiety several times a day to keep our behavior in tune with our families and the greater society. I believe this is probably true. If you are skeptical, I invite you to pay attention to yourself for 24 hours and see if your mind spontaneously calls up events either in the past or you imagine in your future that did or would cause you social embarrassment or even some kind of harm to you or a loved one. Anxiety dosing even happens in our dreams. For years in my 30s, I had a recurring dream where I am preaching a sermon from a pulpit. The congregation is enraptured with my message, but behind the pulpit, I'm not wearing any pants. That was an anxiety dream, I am pretty sure. Let's take a closer look at anxiety. Otto Rank, a disciple of Sigmund Freud, thought that defending against anxiety is the foundation of civilizations. I think he is right. Freud, as you remember, thought that the sublimation of the sex drive is the basis for the creation of culture and civilization. I have never liked that. I think Rank got it right. It is anxiety. It is dealing with anxiety that saw the rise of the great walled cities of antiquity and the more recent nation states. Dealing with anxiety is the root of all great religions. Put people on the moon, developed the internet, and more recently has given us several COVID vaccines. I think it is important to understand where anxiety comes from. Why is our species so anxious? The theory that I most subscribe to is common to many psychoanalytic models. When we are acculturated as very young children, we very quickly learn what is acceptable behavior to our parents and what is not. Because we fear the loss of love from parents and often associate this loss of love with death, we hide from ourselves and from our parents those parts of ourselves that are not acceptable. Consequently, a shadow is cast in the psyche that hides parts of our human spirit from ourselves. These parts are hidden because they are too painful to bear. They are mostly parts of ourselves that are destructive and death-dealing. These shadow parts are often our inner sounds. These shadow parts are often our inner sounds. Our inner sounds like path rhymes with poles. The shadow can, however, include parts of spirit that would be very helpful were we not afraid of them, like a passion for poetry or one's true sexual orientation. These parts of ourselves cause us anxiety when they slip out from underneath the cover of our shadows. They cause us anger and hate when we see these parts manifest in others. Anxiety transmogrified into judgment and hate, plus a bunch of political fundamentalism, accounts for the current difficult political division in this country. I have, for instance, have an acquaintance who for years fought venomously and with a great deal of energy the ordination of gay clergy in his denomination. Somewhere in his mid-40s, he discovered he was gay himself, his true sexuality neatly hidden by his shadow. By way of another example, one of the reasons we enjoy shows like Law and Order and other crime shows is the criminals in these shows represent our shadow material. They do destructive things and do not follow the rules. We feel a bit of relief when at the end of the show, those that follow the rules defeat those that do bad things and do not follow the rules. We do not realize that these TV dramas are representations of our inner struggle to keep the shadow material hidden from ourselves. This brings me to what I think is the very best way to deal with anxiety. First, bring your pain back to yourself. Stop blaming the Democrats, the communists, the Taliban, or the younger generation for the world's troubles. Pull your anxiety back into yourself. Within you is where the work can begin. Anxiety is like a thread. Grab hold of the thread and pull. You may over time manage to entice a part of yourself out of your shadow. If you sit with your anxiety a bit and treat it as a friend, which it is, part of your shadow material will come into the light of consciousness. What comes out from behind your shadow is an important part of you that you need for living a vital life. Okay, so how is our chain coming then? Do we have a report on the chain from our mathematician?
So far, we have, you said 100, Jim, and we have 129 from Lois, but I don't know how many other links other people added.
Okay, well, we're going to do a little meditation now, and that will give people time to report in with their links. If they either imagine links or real links, it makes no difference. If you want to imagine 100 links or 200 links, that would be great. So let's begin our meditation for those of you who can meditate and are willing to sit quietly and to be open to the possibility that life has to offer us. There is, in the deepest stratum of the human psyche, a place of stillness. We have long recognized that when we sit with the stillness, that our sufferings are untangled and that we often achieve states of happiness, gratitude, wonder, and love. From the stillness flows the manna that reveals life's goodness and the experience of being fully alive in this moment. If we go to the stillness, our hearts can be healed. Let's open ourselves to the healing stillness by going there now. As you're able and willing, assume a comfortable position with your eyes closed and just breathe. That is all you have to do. Just focus on your breath. Don't worry about your thoughts and emotions. They will come and go. Breathe in and out, in and out. Find your stillness and let your soul rest there for a moment.